Yo, what up, Street Talks? Okay, so we are currently living through history and it's a very interesting time to be alive. So the question is, what are your life goals now that COVID is a thing? And I think it's smart for us to adjust and change our life goals considering society is now fundamentally different. And maybe also like a plus one to the notion that planning kind of makes no sense in the regards that, you know, the world is far more chaotic than we understand, and therefore it seems a little bit naive to try to plan out every little element of our lives. So I think at this point it seems to make long-term goals is a bit misguided and kind of makes no sense. It seems the best thing we could do is to just treat every day as it comes, because yesterday, or like, you know, the you know, like a few weeks ago when I was working out at the gym was still open, things were still doing good, still get my gains, and then boom, binary, there's the off switch. Then the next day the gym was closed until further notice. So it seems then the most practical strategy in life is to just take things like, I mean, people say that, right? But like literally take it one day at a time, because you don't know how the society and stuff is gonna change and be different, and you don't know what the laws are gonna change. And so it seems the optimal strategy is to just treat every day as it comes. And so then it comes to the questions like in terms of everything about like life goals, right? If we cannot travel or buy things or go to the club or go to the mall, whatever, or maybe some of us can't even work, then comes the question, what are you to do given the fact that these things you might have once planned, which requires a very long time for you to do and pursue, are no longer options? Then what are you to do? So this is a very important thing to consider, because, you know, almost everything that we once considered, you know, part of the game is kind of out of the window now. So I would say, like, you know, the whole like, you know, carpe diem, seize today or pluck today, is we literally have to treat every single day to conquer and extract the fullest maximum out of every single day. And I know that personally, it's going to be my personal imperative that I'm not going to take any day for granted either. And I ain't going to spend no day doing no BS that I personally don't care about. And so I think the upside of COVID is we're far more focused. We're focused because we know what's at stake. You know, our lives, death is staring us right in the face. And I think during these periods of time, it actually brings out the best in people. So then it really forces us to stare in the mirror and ask, what do I really desire from reality and from existence? And what sacrifices or what am I willing to risk or put out there to do to fulfill my life goals? So, I mean, just very practical things, right? So for me, my life purpose is to make these videos, to write, to blog, to make art, to share my ideas and thoughts and stuff like that. And essentially, I think if I could think about my number one impact in the world, essentially it's like, you know, blogging in a very general term, like a weblog to share your publisher, sharing your information and stuff like that. And maybe actually even more specifically, you know, if you think about it long term, I would maybe see myself more kind of like an author in the very general sense, that like I like to write, I like to inscribe, I like to create. I'm a creator, or you know, I'm an artist, or you know, philosopher or warrior, whatever it is. And it seems like in terms of what we desire to become, it's best for us to look back into the past and to think about what we desire to become based on people from the past. So maybe like one of my life goals is to kind of become like a Thucydides, who was both, you know, military general and historian. He wrote down his histories and of the Peloponnesian War. It's interesting too, because now we think that doing this kind of scholarly work is only reserved for academics, people with PhDs and stuff like that. But actually, in fact, you know, anyone and everyone should be able to have the ability to write, create, and create their own history of whatever they personally believe in, and to give it to future generations of humanity. Even if we think about the Renaissance, like what did Leonardo da Vinci and all these artistic greats devote their lives to, was to make art which they hopefully desire was to become immortal. And even Leonardo da Vinci, you know, obviously a polymath, and I think to become a polymath is kind of one of the goals too, where it's not you just want to become one thing. Essentially you want to embrace all forms of knowledge and information, and to become like a genius in terms of expressing all the different forms of these creative avenues. So Leonardo da Vinci, you know, being a writer, a poet, a mathematician, a geometry, and apparently he wasn't even that good at maths. Also, you know, obviously painter, sculptor. He did a lot of stuff, and generally it's the historians who write and filter like what's the most significant, but still, like let the future historians take care of your legacy. You just focus on what you're personally interested in. So it seems like in a very general sense, maybe it's best for us to just create art and just realize during these difficult times, creating art is probably one of the best things you could do. And let's never forget, no matter how difficult things get, life goes on.